Doesn't matter if you, I tell my friend every day, I see some people in wheelchairs who's skiing up in the mountain every day, living their life to the fullest, going to restaurants, people who are fully functional, bodies working, complain about back hurt, can't pay this bill, can't do this, my ski hurt, my back hurt. It's like, what's that? That's not living. No. That's not living to see it. But everybody has to, this is the saying, everybody has to carry that cross to see the other side. If not, you'll never see it.
So we're started here, it's rolling. We'll look at it again one more time. So this is April 7th, Friday, April 7th. I'm sitting here right now with my boy Albert Ray. A couple videos we've highlighted him on and told you we were gonna make a podcast with him, and now we're going to start it. So I'd like to introduce Mr. Albert Ray.
Thank you, Frankiez.
Yes, thanks for taking some time to talk to us here today. We like to talk about having fun on the hill, living with no regrets, taking yourself to places that maybe you've never gone or that other people might be afraid to. And that's what brings us to Albert Ray. He has one of these really fantastic stories, one of these great backstories that you just say, that is how you ended up at Vail, and this is why you ski, and it's a great story. So what we thought we would do is sit down with Albert for a little while today and talk about this, how he got started skiing. He works right now as one of the greeters in the customer service area of scanning. So when I was on the hill, I had an opportunity to meet him, and then one day we were riding into work on the bus, and he had this great jacket on. Was the Rossignol jacket? The Rossignol jacket. And I told him, I said, I thought that was a very handsome jacket that he had on. And him and I started talking about his jacket. And then I met him again, and then we got a little more conversation about his ski history. And that's kind of where I wanted to pick up from today. So how did you start working at Vail, and tell us what you do?
Well, I'm Albert Epps. I'm from Florida, and I came to Vail last year for the 23 winter season, and I work at one of the lead scanners at Chair 6 at Golden Peak, and it's one of the greatest jobs I ever experienced. Just the scenery on the mountain, the livelihood of the people skiing brings life and joy to me, just the pleasure.
How about the cold days? How are the cold days?
The cold days are pretty cold. I'm gonna tell you, the cold days are pretty cold.
Up here in Vail, we get like below zero all the time.
I'm here every morning from about 7 o'clock to 4 o'clock, and the morning times been tough, to be honest. But I got adjusted to it, and it's part of the job, and I just look at it as.
Now, do you snowboard or ski?
I started skiing at 14 years old. And my first ski resort, we went up, I kept nagging my parents. My dad was originally from Lebanon, and he's from a small town in Lebanon called Zachary. And from a young boy,
Do they have skiing back in Lebanon?
Yes, they do. They have a
so did you hear about skiing growing up?
Yes, I heard about his ski stories.
Did your dad ski?
He skied a little bit, but he was not a professional. He was just like a beginner to go up here like somebody, come up for a day kind of thing and just go down the hill.
Recreation.
And he moved away from Lebanon when he was young. He moved away when he was 18 years old.
Where did he move to?
He moved to Brazil, where his uncle was over there.
Amazing.
And he spent about a year there. And my dad was originally born in Lebanon. My mom was born in Trinidad, but she's Lebanese descent. And he was flying. And his brother lived. My uncles lived in New York. And back in the 70s, my dad was flying up to New York to meet one of my uncles, and he flew through Trinidad. And
how close is where your dad's from in Lebanon to where Trinidad is?
Very, very far. It's Trinidad and Lebanon has no connection at all. It's the Caribbean, and that's about it.
Oh, Trinidad. Oh,
Trinidad and Tobago.
Oh, no. I'm thinking of
Trinidad, Colorado.
No, I'm thinking of Tripoli.
Oh, Tripoli. Actually, my other friend.
I'm so sorry. Trinidad.
Actually, my mom's side is from Tripoli. My grandfather.
Yeah.
My mom's dad. My grandfather was born in Lebanon. My grandmother was born in Trinidad. But one side of my family is from Tripoli, which is by the beaches of Lebanon.
I know right where Tripoli is. I'm so sorry that I got that mixed up with Trinidad.
Which is fun. It's funny you said that.
Yeah.
And Zaku, my dad is the opposite. Is from the mountains of Lebanon. So my dad is from the Bekaa Valley, and it's surrounded by snow-capped mountains, extremely high mountains. I'd say when I was over there, about 10 to 12,000 feet.
Oh, that's all big.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Very big, and it's one big range that separates Syria, Lebanon, and the north part of Israel, and the southern part. There's a big mountain range that goes there and cuts through Zachli. And there's a couple of famous ski resorts in Lebanon, and one of them is called Farara, and the other one is called Cedars of Lebanon.
Cedars of Lebanon?
Yeah. And Cedars of Lebanon is a lot of extreme skiing. There's a lot of tree skiing, a lot of deep powder, and a lot of untouched terrain. A lot of people from France and Europe has come down to do a lot of extreme skiing in Lebanon.
To get into the tree skiing.
Yeah.
We got people that come here for that.
Yeah.
That's amazing to me because I run the groomed runs.
Okay.
I'm not much for tree skiing and all that.
Yeah, me too. I'm a groomer. I love my groom runs.
Making real nice wide turns, enjoying the snow. Is that how you ski?
Yes, I do.
So how old were you when you first started skiing?
I started
14?
I was 14.
How'd that go? So you started bugging your parents?
I'm one of three.
That's how kids are.
That's the way I am. And my sister was older than me, a year and a half older than me. I was 14 at the time. My sister was 16, and my brother is 7 years younger than me. And I nagged my parents when I was 14, let's go skiing. So we decided we were in Florida. The closest ski resort was Beach Mountain in North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
And so we took a drive up, and it was a 16-hour drive to Beach Mountain, and we spent the weekend. And I fell in love with skiing. Soon I was put on those skis, and I went up the mountain. My heart just.
It was for you.
It was for me. I felt it. But from all the stories my dad told me, built into my mind. And from a young boy, I always loved the cold. It was nothing new. I was always into the cold, always into snow.
A young man's imagination, and thinking about this, and wanting to be part of it.
Dreaming it, and even on the coldest days in Florida, which doesn't get too cold, but say the coldest is 40s. As a little kid, I used to wear my T-shirt. Everyone used to have to nag Albert. My nickname is Junior to put on a jacket on or put something on. It was always from a little boy. I was always into.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. So
at 14 we went up to Beach Mountain, fell in love with skiing. And
how'd your family like it? What'd they think about this?
My brother loved it. My brother got into it, and my sister liked it, but she's not a big fan of it. She skied a little bit, but not to say she's a skier.
I always tell
she's
people...
She's more of a shopper.
Yeah, oh yeah. That's a fun part about skiing, in fact, is shopping. But I always tell people how difficult it is just to ski. Either to learn or to go do it or whatever, because you have all this equipment, and it's heavy. I said the ski places are out of the way. It's not close. It's not like going to Starbucks or somewhere, where, there's one. And then when you get there, you're in the extreme of elements. It's cold and it's snowing and it kills people. So you have to want to be here. You really have to want to do this. And if you don't, it can really hurt you. You can get cold. You can just have a miserable day. Learning how to ski is its own challenge. So did you get lessons when you went skiing? Or did you just go up and just bonsai?
No, I got at Beach Mountain. I started with lessons.
Excellent.
I did it the right way. That's why I learned the right way. I did it with lessons, and we only went up for about 4 days. I was 14 at the time. This is about 35 years ago. I'm trying to remember a lot of it, but I did a few lessons, and we went up for about 4 or 5 days, and we drove back. And when I got back to Florida, I was heartbroken. I needed to ski, And I didn't realize in Florida they had Peter Glenn shops. So even when I went back, there was Peter Glenn shops around.
That you could go in and just look at equipment and just keep into the system.
And at that time I was 15 and I just got my restricted license. So I started to drive around a little bit and go to Peter Glenn shops middle of summertime and just look at ski gear, ski jackets, ski shoes, get magazines, and just was indwelled in it. Then the following year I started to nag. I said, I don't want to go North Carolina is not for me. I want to try Colorado. I want to come out to Colorado. So my first
No way.
So I came out with me, my dad, my brother John Paul, and my uncle, and my two other cousins. We came out. It was just a guy trip. We came out to Winter Park, and it was a 5-day trip. 4 days and 4 days skiing and 5 days on the mountain. And I took lessons every single day. And at Winter Park, it was magical. There was Mary Jane, if you remember Mary Jane, and Winter Park back then.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a beautiful mountain. I just fell in love with skiing.
That's
and
amazing.
And at that time, I was like 15 and a half, 16, around there. It was about a year after Beach Mountain. Then I took lessons. I started to catch on. And the following year, I wanted to come back again. So we decided to come to Steamboat. I kept looking at magazines, and I found this place called Steamboat up in Craig and Hayden.
My mom's from Steamboat.
And wow, amazing!
Yeah.
And I was reading about Billy the Kid.
Sure.
And so we started. Spike hair. And he had a cowboy. He's wearing a cowboy hat.
Oh yeah, and the cowboy hat.
The cowboy hat. And we started to go up. My parents loved that Steamboat. It was just a nice, comfort,
great community.
Give community, and my mom loved it.
And cowboys are there.
Cowboys are there.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I started to go there. And I started taking. Every time I went skiing, it was only for a week, and every time I took lessons. And in between that, after Steamboat, my cousin who lived next door to us, I was 18 at the time, 19, and my cousin next door got married to a guy from Oregon. And his brother was a skier from a baby. He started to ski from 2 years old, and his cousin was a skier too from young. And
they got good skiing in Oregon.
Good skiing, and they skied on Mount Hood, and one of them.
Oh wow.
One of them was supposed to be a ski instructor, but he decided not to. So I started to ski. When I started to go to Mount Hood a lot, Mount Oregon. I was close to my cousin, Sandy. And I started to fly up to Oregon a lot, and I skied at Mount Bachelor a ton of times. Mount Bachelor, Mount Hood, went up to the top.
Sure.
We went up to, but I also loved it so much, I went out for summer. I did summer skiing over there. It was amazing. It was
what month did you ski in?
It was in July.
No way.
Late
July?
Late July, early August.
Oh, that's amazing.
And it was a great experience. It was amazing. There was only thing that was up there was a lot of people from Japan, believe it or not, teaching snowboarding.
Is that right?
It was a big snowboarding club and lessons for Japanese wealthy people that come up to
Mount Hood.
Mount Hood, and it's in summertime. And to me, the best mountain to ski in Oregon was Mount Bachelor. It's an old volcano that's dormant. And it's a beautiful circular mountain. I love Mount Hood, but Mount Bachelor has something about Mount Bachelor that's magical there.
That is so cool. So you were up there in the summer skiing?
Summer skiing, but every winter I used to go back and ski with actually Chris, his name is, Michael, and my good friend was Mitch, and his wife was Sandy. And I'm still in contact with them, but not a long time ago, but once in a while I still speak to them.
Great memories,
Great
though,
memories
of Mount Bachelor and Mount Hood.
From that, I came back to Florida, and then I started to go again and back again. And I took my family to Breckenridge. And my mom, my dad, my sister, Dan just got married to a guy from Canada, and he knows about skiing. He's from Canada, but he lives in Trinidad. My sister lives in Trinidad. I don't know if I told you I was born in Trinidad.
No, tell me, where were you born? Trinidad?
I was born in Trinidad.
Lebanon.
My dad was born in Lebanon. My mom was born in Trinidad. And my grandparents from my dad's side was all from Lebanon.
Okay.
And my grandparents from my mom's side, my grandmother was born in Trinidad. And my grandfather was born on that. Was born in Lebanon. A little confusing there.
No, that's fantastic.
And my sister was born in Trinidad, and I was born in Trinidad. But we moved up to Florida when I was a year and a half, 2 years old.
Where did your parents meet?
They met in Trinidad.
They met in
Trinidad, because my grandfather, he was like the consulate for Lebanon, and anybody who's Lebanese coming in from any part of the world, from USA to Brazil he used to invite them over to the house. And my dad was just flying through. Go from Brazil to New York is a long trip. You have to stop somewhere. So he decided to stop in Trinidad. And my grandfather found out he was Lebanese and invited him over to his house. And my grandfather was strict. He had one of 8 daughters. He had 8 daughters, and he was known, don't mess with his daughters or him. It was funny. Yeah, everyone was into his daughters. So they lived on Divital Street. So you could not go down Divital Street and look at his daughters. You had to go down the other street. So that was funny. It was funny, but he's a loving man. He was just very protective of his daughters. And he had one son. It was seven sisters and one son. So that's when my dad met my mom. And I guess that when he went over to the house, they fell in love, and they wanted to go on a date. And back then they were strict, so they had to take an aunt, a chaperone, on the date for them.
Is that right?
Yeah, and that's how they met.
How interesting. Well, I understand him being very protective over his daughters.
Yes.
Because I think it's been said that children are truly the greatest treasure on earth.
Yeah, his grandkids and his daughters and his son was everything.
Sure. You guys come to Breckenridge.
Yes.
And you said, man, this is fantastic.
We started to come up every year. I was like in the 20s. I started a major in economics, minor in psychology.
Where at?
At FAU. I started at BCC, Broward Community College.
Are we talking Florida Atlantic?
Florida Atlantic.
I know what FAU
is.
is.
They made a Sweet 16.
That's right. That's right. Florida Atlantic with the Sweet 16.
16. And at that time, I was.
What an amazing feat.
I had an innate. From 12 years old, I started. Actually, from 8 years old, I was into stocks. I just loved the equity market and stock market. I was from a little boy from stocks. So even in college, I used to go to school, go to the library, and take out all these stock reports, and put it into my books, and just read about stocks, not listening to this teacher. So I was average. I coasted by college, put it that way.
Okay.
I was a little too smart for myself and for college. And so I used to do a lot of trading in college, stock trading, and I started to make a lot of money. So my senior year, I decided not to go back, and I started to do trading, equity trading full time.
No kidding.
And I started to I was making money, so I had money from 20 to start to travel and ski. I had that ability, which I was blessed with.
What was the first stock you ever bought?
First stock I ever bought was actually International Homeworks. I was 8 years old at the time, and I begged my dad to buy me a stock, and the brokerage company was Thomas James. The broker came over and he offered me Coca-Cola. It was 1984. And he said, why don't you buy that? My father said, buy Coca-Cola at $1,000. He gave me $1,000 to buy. I said, why don't you buy Coca-Cola? I said, no. I want on this new company called Homeworks. They do lasers, where they do measuring tapes with a laser back in 1984.
Sure.
But a little too advanced for themselves, and they went up. They didn't have the competition, and they couldn't upscale, and the cost was too much, and they went belly up. That's my first stock I ever invested.
How interesting. Well, so let me ask you this. How many different ski resorts have you skied at? Because you've skied at some of the nicest places that I've ever heard of.
I skied at
Mount Bachelor, you skied at Mount Hood, you skied at Breckenridge, you skied at Vail,
Winter Park, Steamboat Springs. Let's start over again. I skied at my first one was Beach Mountain, and then we went to Winter Park, Breckenridge, then I skied at Mount Hood, Mount Bachelor, Steamboat, Vail, Whistler, back from Whistler, Big Bear in California, Southern California.
Right by Lake Arrowhead.
Yeah.
I know where Big Bear is.
Crested Butte this year, Keystone, I could think of.
That's at least 10.
10.
That's at least 10.
At least 10. At least 10. And actually, I also did ski in Switzerland. It was right after my senior year in high school. I went as a chaperone, and we went to Jungfrau in Switzerland. And it was summertime. There was only one. We went up to the top of the Alps, on top of Jungfrau. And there was only one trail, one slope down, and I did that. If you could count that.
Of course.
You could count that.
Of course. Yes. You weren't ice skating.
It was not. It was skiing.
It wasn't water skiing. It was snow skiing. Huh?
Snow skiing.
How interesting.
It was with my high school. I went to Pope John Paul in Florida, in Boca Raton.
And you guys took a trip over to Europe?
Europe. It was actually, I graduated, but I was so friendly with the lower grades, and the principal was a priest, Father John. And he convinced me to come along the trip as a chaperone. But,
oh, that's fantastic.
But I was still 1 year out of college, 1 year out of high school. I partied just like the rest of them.
Sure,
but
you fit right in.
Fit right in. It was just...
Oh, that's so... I'd love to hear that. Now, let me ask you this. So out of those resorts that you've been to, which one do you favor over the others?
To be honest with you,
yeah,
my top two favorite resorts. I love Steamboat. It's the Steamboat. It's because of the small town feeling and the power, the champagne power.
Oh.
And one time we got the greatest experience ever. Me and my brother was skiing one side of the mountain, and all of a sudden a guy came up. It was Billy the Kid, and he saw us skiing. He was the nicest guy, and he just gave us tips. He said, "You do this, turn your skis this way, turn your skis that way." And I said, "Wow, this is Billy the Kid." I always watch videos of Steamboat, and I said, "I always want to meet Billy the Kid." And all of a sudden, one day he came up right next to us without asking him anything, and just gave us, me and my brother, 2 pointers. Fix your leg this way and turn this way.
You know, there's really something unique about skiing because nobody gets too big.
No.
Everybody's cool. It's so neat. And what I mean by that is let's say that me and Albert go up on the lift and we decide to go skiing together. If he's good and I'm not, we can still ski together.
Yeah.
There's no problem with his ski skill set being better than mine or not. And if it is that much better, he'll tell me, "I'll meet you at the bottom."
Everyone skis to their ability. Everyone, I could ski any trail, any run with anybody, and just meet to the bottom.
Yeah, if he's much better than me, I don't try to ski at his level. That's dangerous.
Yes.
Get some lessons. I believe in that 100%. I talk about that on these videos all the time up here at Vail.
Very important.
Get lessons. And we've got one of the best ski schools I've ever seen. And when I say that, my daughter learned to ski at Heavenly, and I have a real preference to it, but Vail is fantastic, and I think Albert will attest to that.
I like the color of the...
My favorite resort I was going to come to is Vail, because Vail, of all those resorts I went to, Blackcomb and Whistler and Crested Butte and Telluride and Steamboat and Winter Park and Big Bear and Mount Bachelor, nothing could touch Vail. Vail has everything you want in one resort. You have to go to all 10 resorts
to get everything in Vail. I thought that same thing. I said, it is world class.
Yeah. Even Steamboat, I always have a heart for it. For some reason, I just have a beautiful, because of the town. The town is very different from Vail. It's a different, it's more of a country town, more of a laid-back scene, and I just have an innate love for Steamboat. But I have an innate. When I came to the Vail before I started work here. I came up 3 times. First time was with a girl. It didn't work out. Had some fun. Second time was with a girl. Had some fun. Didn't work out. It was a girlfriend. And the third time was with a bunch of friends. It was with my 3 cousins. Fortunately, my friend Justin, who got paralyzed before I came. After the Vail trip, he was my neighbor in Florida, and we became very close friends. And we started to do a lot. He was very active, and we came up to Vail one year. I was 36 at the time, maybe 36 at the time. It was me, my brother John Paul, my cousin Michael, my other cousin John Boy, and my good friend Justin. and we had a blast. The first time I've been to the back bowls was with Justin, my brothers, and we had so much fun.
That's such a unique experience, isn't it?
With the two prior trips with the two girls, I never went to the bowls.
Exactly.
They cried. We stayed in the front. And Vail, Vail is not made for beginners, I could tell. Vail is for intermediate to advanced skiers. If you
Absolutely.
At the bottom, I could tell the bottom of the mountain is all blues and blacks, and only the greens are on top. The other mountains are much, much, much different.
Yes, I agree with that.
But also I went to Keystone, by the way, too. Just came to me. Went there. And Sunlight Resorts, too.
You went to Sunlight?
Yes, yes.
I know about that.
Yes.
Interesting.
I live in Glenwood, so I just figured to try it out.
Why not?
Why not? It was a nice little resort. It's nice. It's cool.
Skiing is skiing.
Skiing, it brings
wherever you go.
Wherever I went, any of those resorts, and once you're a skier, you got a connection.
You're home.
You're home. It doesn't matter who I met. Who I met at a bar, who I met at a resort.
I love that about the sport. I really do. There's this real common, we're in the same lane kind of thing. Even though you're better, or maybe I'm better, or we're both real bad, it doesn't make any difference. The spirit of the sport is really unique in that regard.
And just the sight of the mountain and just being on the skis gives you that that high, that natural uplift high.
Yeah, there's this high that comes from it without a doubt.
And I see it every day as a scanner.
Yeah, tell me what you see as a scanner.
As a scanner, every day I see the people excitement in their face just to run up the mountain, show up. Sometimes an hour, the chairlifts open 8:30. Some people show up 7:30. Some people show up 8 o'clock. Some people draw lines in the snow. Their skis get first, so they could be first in the mountain. It's just like an adrenaline rush.
It's so fantastic.
It's fun to see. It's a fun experience. It's an amazing feeling. It's just, I can't see the fun. I see ages from 90. The oldest skier I saw this year was 96 to 2 years old. And between that
Everything in between.
96 and 2, and both ages have the same smile, the same enthusiasm, the same excitement. Doesn't matter what age you are. It's amazing.
Okay, so I want to ask you a question about how you got to Vail. So you were just talking about how you came up here with your boys and you went on a great trip.
Yeah, that's many years ago.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then from then till now, how did you get to Vail and work?
Right after that trip, we went. It was 36, 37 at the time. It was about 12 years ago. The following year, we went down to Trinidad. My mom went down there to temporary. She got a big job. She's a florist, and she does a lot of commercial work, and she does Christmas, like big Christmas decorations for malls and stuff like that.
It must be beautiful.
Yeah, she's
I love flowers.
She's
Love flowers.
She's a florist since she was a baby, and she started her own store at 17 years old. She started her own flower store. So she's very, very popular in Trinidad, because that's where a lot of people know her. But she got very, very popular in Florida. But during the housing crisis,
2008.
her business went down. She was tied to a lot of home builders. She used to do a lot of custom homes and spec homes and that kind of stuff.
The house presentations,
that kind of stuff. Yeah,
of course.
So that business went away, and she got an opportunity to Trinidad to get this big mall and to decorate it. And she was doing silk. She originally started with fresh, and she went to silk flowers. Now she went back to fresh in Trinidad, and she took off again. So I went down to visit her with my friend Justin, and we went across. There's a little island called Tobago, and we went across the island to do a little scuba diving. Me, my brother, and my Justin, and apparently we got in a car accident, and we got. I do really like to talk about it. We went diving, and after the diving trip, my friend's throat was hurting him. And so we decided to go to a pharmacy. Tobago is a very little small island. It's right off the Trinidad. This is not the safest place, but has one of the best divings in the world. It's phenomenal diving. You could dive off, you go off 10 feet off the beach, and it drops off 60 feet.
No kidding.
And you hear dolphins. You see it's the most beautiful diving place in the world. So I heard about it. I got into diving from Florida. I dive a little bit. I just go down 30, 40 feet, nothing too crazy.
That's still a pretty good depth.
So we went out, and apparently we was just turning into a pharmacy to get his medicine, and this drunk driver, I don't know, was drunk or rage, came from the wrong side of the road, nailed the back of our car. The whole car just flipped around, and my friend head flew up, and in the back seat he didn't have his seatbelt on, and broke his neck, and we had to, and after that he came out and attacked us.
The guy that hit
He
you?
hit it. It was a road rage. It was a crazy scene. My brother got knocked out, and after that he wanted to pull my friend from the car. I think the only thing I got was a cut. I hit my head, but I never got knocked out. So he went back to his car to get a field hockey stick. I can't even imagine it. And so I basically had to fend off this guy, my friend. He wanted to pull my friend, who broke his neck, and his head was, I don't want to get too graphic, it was pretty awful scene. And so I had to fend him off. In the meantime, he took a swing to try and hit my back of my neck with the, in the meantime he punched me. He hit me, decked me, and I didn't get knocked out. If I knew I got knocked out, that was it for me, my friend, and my brother. So I stayed up, and at that time the police came, and the people on Herod, and the whole street got crazy, and thank God. And my friend had to get airlifted out of Tobago to Trinidad, to stabilize him. Then I flew out with him to Atlanta. That's where he was from. He's from Georgia, and he went up to the Shepherd Center, and he broke his neck from his neck. I can't remember which part of the neck. It was one of the T's, and he's a paraplegic. And that's what got me a lot motivated. I stayed with him in Atlanta for about 6 weeks in the hospital. But for the few years after that, I stayed with him. I went up to Atlanta a lot, and I saw what it took for a paraplegic. Just like the adaptive skiers here.
Sure.
All the respect in the world is the most amazing thing. Just spending 6 weeks in the Shepherd Center and see what the paraplegics go through, and the different accidents, what happens, and so many of it's just freak accidents that happens. And that was a big life-changing event for me. That changed my whole life in a good direction. What happened from that accident was a good thing. Even both of us, me and Justin, became extremely tight. And that was in 2014 it happened. And so I stuck with him from 2014 to 2017. I was going up to Atlanta. I stopped skiing. I didn't do skiing. Was not on my radar. I forgot about it. Skiing, Vail, Winter Park. I was just focused on my friend, what's happened in Trinidad. I didn't realize I got mixed. We were so focused on Justin, I didn't realize I had head trauma from the accident. I never got scanned. Everything was so dangerous for Justin. It was life-threatening. So everything got focused on him. And after 3 years of that, the head trauma came out. I didn't realize it was undetectable, and I got in a second car accident, and I didn't realize it was because of the head trauma and PTSD. I had one incident that led to another incident that led me to slip off the road while my friend was in Florida, and I actually was just driving on the highway on an overpass 3 years after the first accident, and my car just went over the overpass with my 2 dogs in the back, unleashed, hit a tree. It was the I-95 pass, and just went over and fractured my T4 and T5. And that was tragic for me. And I couldn't believe what happened to me. I got in a car accident where a guy hit us. I never got in a car accident before. And after that, they started to do some more scans. That's when they found out about my head trauma and my PTSD. I didn't know what I had. And then I started to see a doctor, and I started to change my life around. And I saw what Justin did to change his life around. Even with all his disabilities, it became abilities. He was in construction. He still does construction. He still talks. He still talks. He still drinks. He still wants to go out. Not to say I changed, he didn't change. He changed me back. It's like he was my motivation to get going.
Oh, that's fantastic. What a great story.
And after I broke my back,
Right.
I said, in 2017, I said, this is for me. I want to do a life-changing event. I got really, really fit, and I started to hike a lot. I started to do a lot of hiking in Trinidad when I was coming down to visit my parents. And Trinidad had a lot of dense jungles, and I love hiking so much, and the hiking led me to hiking in Bryce Canyon and all over. Then that sparked my brain back into skiing. Well, I want to get back into skiing.
No kidding.
And so when that happened, I saw what Justin doing, what everybody does. It's staying home, watching TV, trading stocks. It's not satisfying for me anymore. Going to a nightclub, going for dinner, it wasn't doing anything for me. I needed to do something more to show people and to show myself how somebody could change their life around and do a 360 and come back up into the mountains and start back skiing. So in 2019 I came out and I couldn't do it. My back was still fractured. I had a T4, T5.
Still healing.
Still healing, and I came out to the X Games, and I was going to go skiing, but I could not. The pain was just still there.
Mm-hmm.
So I was too scared to go up the mountain, and I stayed in a hotel in Glenwood Springs and just watched the X Games on TV. And went one day on a Friday. I was supposed to go 3 days. I just went one day and just enjoyed Glenwood Springs, and I just had fun there. And then that was in February, and then in July I was not satisfied. I wanted to come back and try whitewater rafting in 2019. And when I reached out here, they had a that year was a big year for snow, so there's a lot of whitewater. The whitewaters are rough. Everyone convinced me not to whitewater raft, so I decided not to. Goes on my back, and I figured I'd jump up and down and my back would get out of place. So I went up to the Rocky Mountain National Park, and I did some hiking up there. I had a beautiful time, and I came back, and I still could not do skiing. And only until when the virus, believe it or not, COVID broke out, I got the time to heal. And it took me almost a year and a half to heal up my back. From 2017, it took almost 4 years to heal.
No kidding.
And last year I tried it out. So I went out to Steamboat, and in February, just first time skiing back since 10 years ago, maybe 36 to 48, about 10 years ago, roughly 9 years ago, first time up on the skis. So I went up last year to Steamboat in February, and I was went for 3 days. I stayed at Rabbit Airs Motel. I love that place. It's the most amazing place. It was just a little motel. I wanted something quaint. I found this little place called Rabbit Airs Motel. It was all neon decorated. It was pretty cool, from the 1950s kind of look.
Sure.
It was pretty cool, and the people who owned it was really cool. So I just fell in love. I went there. I just fell in love right back with skiing and Steamboat, the friendliness. Got my skis on, and I started to ski. It was like riding a bicycle. I was having so much fun.
Oh, I love it.
On the second day, I started to fly down the mountain, and there's a trail called Simi. It's right in the bottom of Steamboat, and it goes from a blue to a black. Simi is a black thing. I didn't realize I was still inexperienced from the years. So when that year was frigid. It was -20 in the mornings in Steamboat last year. So the whole bottom mountain was just ice. So I started to fly down the mountain, and I hit Simi, and it was about an 800 vertical feet drop from the bottom to top. I didn't realize the whole entire run was solid ice. Soon I hit it. I ski fast. I ski like a ski racer. I ski very low. So I hit the edge, and my whole body just skid out, and I started to do a 360 down it. And it pulled me down, and I started to hit the back of my head. I had a helmet on, and I started to get friction burns here. I tried to stop. I was going so fast I couldn't stop. So I put my skis down. My feet was about to break. It's the first time experiencing that kind of fall. So I lifted up my whole body and just went down the mountain. Went back to the hotel room, got up in the middle of the night. I didn't realize my whole side of my body was just totally black from friction burn.
Okay.
I didn't realize what happened to me, and I was getting very, like, I couldn't see properly, so I got a little concussion, the thing. So I went to the hospital the following morning, a little urgent care. The doctor saw me. He said, "Get back on your skis, you'll do fine." so I got back. The following day I went back and I skied. I had a great time.
Right.
And I loved it so much. I went back in April for the last 3 days of skiing. April 9th was the last day.
Mm-hmm.
So I went April 6th. I decided to. I never bought skis or boots before. I figured I'd buy skis, boots, the whole 9 yards. So I went over there. I got my setup, and I got my skis, and had the 3 best days of my life. The first 2 days was like 50 degrees. The last day, that Saturday, they closed on Sunday. Saturday, it had a massive storm. It was not supposed to snow. It snowed about 15 inches. So on Sunday, I got powder basically up to my knees. Basically the knees, and the whole mountains was to myself. I just fell in love with that passion back again.
Sure.
Then summer came along, and September came along, and I said, I got this itch. I just got this urge. Every time I had something, I told my parents I was coming up to Colorado to live, or to Vail, or to Steamboat. From the past, every time I had something, it was like something goes on. I was like, I'm moving out here. I'm moving to Steamboat or Colorado and live my life in the mountains and ski. And do you know what? Here I am. It's amazing. I decided in September. I saw these job openings. I went online. I was setting myself up for a big ski trip. I was going to go out for at least 2-3 months, rent somewhere, and I figured I saw these job openings in Vail. So why don't I just work and ski, and at least I get to meet people. And I always want to advance my skiing to another level. And the only way to do it is to live out here. It's not for coming out for a week once a year for every 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
I did that. I was stuck to a certain level.
Mm-hmm.
The only way I got good is by coming out here, watching these ski races, with all the respect for these kids from 6 or 7 to 18. They go up every morning, and I had to sit down and watch them for the last 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And that improved my skiing 100%.
How do you like working this lift? Because when the ski racers all come down, I
love
just
it.
think that's such a rush.
I love it. I love this part of the mountain. Golden Peak is really a golden peak. It's untouched.
It's so amazing.
It's amazing. Even the ski racers motivate me. I won't be doing this job if someone tells me, if you're not into skiing, and someone puts you out there to make some money and to scan, you're gonna last 2 weeks. The only reason I'm out here for 6 months is my passion for skiing, the passion for the sport. Speed. I love speed skiing. I love skiing. I'm watching skiing since I was a kid. The Olympics, the Winter Olympics.
Sure.
Going back from Alberto Tomba to Pickybrook Street. I grew up with those that era of my life. I try to mimic them all the time. That kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, so how long do you see yourself working for Vail Resorts?
I see myself working till
you decide not to.
I
think that is so fantastic.
Forever till
Yeah.
I think working here brought back magic to my life. Brought back meeting people again. Just seeing the excitement of people, the employees. Frankie's, you are amazing.
Thank you.
You just picking me on. I don't know how. You brought back that spirit.
I saw the love, man, right there in the heart.
That's why every day I come out here and I see.
That's the truth, though.
I saw what my friend went through. Doesn't matter if you. I tell my friend every day. I see some people who's in a wheelchair.
Such an inspiration.
Who's in a wheelchair, who's skiing up in the mountain every day, living their life to the fullest, going to the restaurants. People who fully functional, bodies working, complain about back hurt, can't pay this bill, can't do this, my ski hurt, my back hurt. It's like, that's not living.
No.
That's not living.
This is great advice, I'll tell you.
But I had to go through what I had to go through to see it. But everybody has to, this is saying, everybody have to carry that cross to see the other side. If not,
I think that is such an important thing to say. In order to be able to understand what happiness is, you're gonna have to struggle a little bit in life.
Yes, that's exactly. That's why I appreciate so much. That's why I come here with a happy face every morning. 'Cause I know what's not to be happy, and happiness is priceless. It's the most amazing thing, and nothing, money or anything cannot change that. The most important thing is your health and having fun, and even health, making the best out of your life.
And making the best out of your life, living with no regrets.
No regrets, living life to the fullest, and like Frankie Z, do everything in the mountain, go up there and live with no regrets and just ski and just
do what you love.
Yeah,
just
exactly.
do what you love. Being around the people
you love, and the positive vibes. Bring people who's positive around you, not negative. Bring the positive vibes around you. Then positive things will happen to you.
And good energy like that exists everywhere I ski.
Yeah.
If it's in Nevada, if it's in California, if it's here in Colorado or Arizona, everybody still has that great ski attitude.
Yeah.
And you know, I just can't get enough of it myself. Well, I did want to say that thanks to Albert for taking some time to actually share some very intimate moments about what got him to Vail, because I think that is so interesting. I meet a lot of different people, and I know Albert keeps bringing up the fact that it was unique that he was picked from a lot of different people to be interviewed, but the fact is that when you meet somebody like Albert that's got great passion for what we do here, and that's to try to get as many people on the hill skiing and enjoying what we do in our off time. And when I found that true ski spirit in Albert, that was just enough for me to say, let's talk. Let's get this going.
That is so true, because every time someone asks me a question about a mountain, snow, or I think it brings some excitement to me. I'm so happy to help someone. Tell them to go on Blue Ox. That's my favorite trail. Go up to the terrain park. Go to.
How about that terrain park? Isn't that a great terrain
park? Oh
my
God, it's the most amazing terrain park I've ever seen.
I'm so impressed with that.
It's the rails, the jumps, it's
How
magical.
about I'll be up on that lift after I just got scanned by you, and I'll see guys packing the front of the rails, getting the snow organized, freshening it up, and I just think that maintenance of the mountain is so important, and they do it all the time.
Hats off to the crew up there who does it. It's amazing crew.
Hats off, no question.
I see them every day. They lap the mountain, lap with their rakes and everything.
The shovels.
If it's not for them, there's no terrain park.
No, because those rails don't last.
No.
There's a lot of people that come up and ski. This mountain's amazing how many people it can handle.
Yeah.
And when you look at the terrain park, those obstacles are being run on all the time, and they have to be maintained. And like Albert just said, you've got to give kudos to this group that's running the terrain park here in Golden Peak, as well as Lions Head, I'm sure. They do such a great job that they need to be recognized for that.
They probably lap my area probably at least 20 times a day, 25 times.
Did they go that often?
Yeah, it's all a lot. They just go up and down, all day from 8 to 4.
So if you're ever at Vail Resorts, I would like you to stop by Golden Peak, say hello to Mr. Albert Ray, give him a little peace out, peace up, what's up. More importantly is thanks for paying attention and tuning in to Frankie Z, I Ski with Frankie Z. Thank you for tuning in to I Ski with Frankie Z. See how I did that? Yeah. We'll be able to edit that shit all out. Oh, getting all tongue-tied. And we'd like to say thank you to Albert for taking some time to talk to us. As we move through the season, we're going to keep you up posted on what he's doing and what's going on. Albert, thanks again for taking some time.
Thank you, Frankie Z, for interviewing me and for giving me time for my story.
I think his story was so amazing, and he's such a respectful guy for the mountain and the sport that he was worth talking to. So as we'll move through the seasons, we'll keep you updated on Mr. Albert Ray.
Thank you again, Frankie Z. You're magical. Vail is magical. This mountain is magical. This mountain has healing powers that no one knows. And especially if you go back to Blue Sky Basin. Well,
there's something very hollow about this. I agree.
Actually, someone told me to go back to Blue Sky Basin recently. I've never been, and I went last week. And something about back there is magical. Something about Blue Sky Basin, something over there is something magical over there. I don't know what it is.
I haven't been.
You never
I'm
been?
gonna have to see what's up with Blue Sky
Yeah.
Basin.
Something over there is magical. I don't know what it is, but check it out, Frankie Z.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
I Ski with Frankie Z coming to you from the base at Golden Peak here with Albert Ray, in from Florida. Loving every minute of it. We'll see you guys later. Thanks again.
Thank you, Frankie Z.
Oh man, that was great, Albert.
Was that good?